Just wanted to test out that intro. Sounds pretty good to me. My other intros were taken off of Restream, so I thought, hey, it's a good opportunity for me to try some of stuff that I've written with my band, my old band, Split the Sky. That stuff's like 12 years old. Yeah, well, I'm not playing music right now, but it's something that I did a lot in the past. And it's nice to be able to use some of these songs up a bit here and there. Why not? So today we'll be, covering a couple topics. We should have a drop-in guest coming in today. I just wanted to see how that goes and see how the echo goes. I got two guests coming up this week. I got Sam Miller. She's on Wednesday. And Rib Rach. She rescheduled, so she's coming on Thursday. So that'll be good. Those ones I won't go live. I noticed that if I record them in this program, then I have good quality sound and visual that I can edit after. And then, I can just post it with, a good thumbnail, make it all look good, no rush. Then afterwards, I post some cool clips on Instagram. So check. All right. Let me know if you're seeing this, just so I can make sure everything's good. And if you guys have anything, comments, questions, go ahead. So, everybody in Canada, happy Thanksgiving. I just had some, we made Thanksgiving poutines yesterday. So I had stuffing, of course, the gravy and the turkey, and peas and corn, gravy. And what else was there? There was what's that? Cranberry sauce and a shitload of gravy, and it was a lot of cheese. Not the curds. I didn't follow the rules, but I just like the regular mixed mozzarella cheddar, right? And it was amazing. It tasted really good. So this week I was eating good for 4 days. Like I'm trying to, I did this whole mind body thing for 3 years. I went from weighing 240 pounds. All of a sudden I could only eat 2 foods, right? It's like a switch went off. My brain's like, we're at capacity. This is too much. His bucket's full, right? It was up to here. Which reminds me, I should get another water. Right? My bucket was so full that it was frozen. Solid, right? This thing was solid fucked, and right? My baseline was at 1,000, right? Totally survival, right? Rest and digest is at like 52. And yeah, I was at 1,000. All of a sudden I got 2 safe foods. And I went from 2 safe foods. I was 2.5. I could eat apples once in a while, and eventually it was just okay. I can eat apples and rice and beef. Then eventually, it went from weighing 240 pounds, right? So 240 pounds in no time. I was like skinny, right? In the beginning of my journey, this was now 4 years ago, 4.5. 2020, yeah, winter of 2020. My face was green and gray, white. I went from 240 pounds to 170. I was knocking at the door to 169. I haven't weighed that little since like grade 11, back in the Nirvana years when I had long hair and I was skinny, right? Back then, I might have been, grade 9 and 10, I might have been like 160, 165. Well, 240 to 170 is a massive difference. And I was in a survival state. Like I looked survivalish, right? So, yeah, 240 to 170. 70 pounds? I'm not the best at math. I'm okay at math when I don't have to get the number in right away. When it's not like, what is it? Let's do some. I know you guys are priority. Oh, come on, man. Like, it's fucking, come on, man. It's like fucking 240 minus 70-pound difference. Yeah. Yeah, it was, man. And you could see it. At the tail end of my recovery, I started gaining weight. I was at like 180, right? And 180 is like 170 even is technically, that's like normal. But I've been, this weight of mine at 240, even the people around me, like everywhere you go, people are obese. So it's like normalized to look at people like, hey man, yeah, man, yeah. You're like, right. And then you lose the weight and you're like, you're so thin, you're like a toothpick. But if you go 60 years back, that's like everybody was like that. Everybody's, oh man, we lived in different times. It's a crazy contrast. So, I went from eating all the foods to know the foods at all, 2.5. Doing that for, it took me a year and a half to stick to my safe foods before I could start training on the foods, right? And just training on the foods took me, still having flares, fucking shit flares for another year and a half until I had all the foods in. So after that, I was free to eat whatever I wanted. And because of that, I gained fucking weight because I'm like, no fucking rules. We're going to eat everything. All the cookies. It's Christmas now. We're going to go fucking crazy. And I did. And I had all the Chinese food, all the chips, cookies, right? Until I would say for a solid year of just, man, it was so good. It was like a food tour. I was cooking. I was like chopping. I was like, yeah, what are we making today? Fuck, we're going to make this. Or you want chips? You want to get cheesecake? Let's do it. Let's eat pizza again. Let's do, and it was magical. It felt, I was gaining the weight pretty quick. Right. I was like, oh, 180, 190. I could stay 190. Oh shit, we're looking at 195. Maybe I should, oh man, 200. Okay, fuck. No, maybe I gotta, okay, 2. And I stopped looking at the scale. I was like, fuck this shit. Right. So, and this supposedly is a phenomenon that a lot of people go through when they get their lives back. And it's great. It's a great, like, I'm sure, I was like, oh man, I wish I could be, I know a lot of you are thinking, fuck, I'd give anything to be at that stage to have that fucking problem. Right. So and this is where the journey is not over. Sure, I recovered. I feel fucking great. No, there's peace here, right? I have peace, silence, right? No background noises of thoughts and, impending dooms. None of that shit. No symptoms, no pains moving around. My gut feels plump, right? It's good. It's digestions or my stools are. But you could start building a problem for yourself because you're creating bad habits, right? And I'm just a garbage compactor. Just anything goes, whatever. Just yeah. And my body's handling it. But long term, if I keep doing this, weight and eating like shit, that brings the bucket up in a different way, right? Weight, it's a load of its own, which makes sense because the body's got to do things. It's got to do extra things. It's got to detox this, move this over here. So I'm putting it to work. I'm taking away the loads with all the other shit in my life, but I'm putting some back with weight and junk food and blue, right? Yeah, blue. I got to make a blue bottle and blue. Right? So it's good. But imagine if I was here and I was piling on I would probably be losing the weight because I'm fight or flight. But if I was adding more loads, it's asking for problems. And a lot of people go through that. They're in fight or flight, right? They're in survival, and then they pile on more loads in the form of like weight. And something's got to give. Body keeps the score. Shit's gonna pop up, right? So for me, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with trying to reset all my bad habits that I accumulated over the journey of recovery and the celebrations of having my life back and starting new. And then, so I'm getting a little restrictive. I don't want to be restrictive, but I thought, well, the best way to reset some of these neural pathways of addiction when it comes to food is to do a hard reset. So I'm doing that. I'm doing a hard reset. Some people might be like, what are you doing, Helmet? I'm reintroducing the carnivore diet. And I'm using it as a tool this time. I'm not using it as something that that I have to use to feel better as a coping mechanism. I'm using it as a tool temporarily to reset some of these bad habits, right? And then I'm going to introduce the foods that I like again, and then create a routine of a healthy lifestyle with food, right? Because I don't want to get back to, you know, the fasting and the restrictive dieting and the blah blah blah, because then I don't want to create a bad relationship with food. Okay, we got a drop-in guest. I want to welcome. Let's see. Let's make this work here.
What's up,
Joe? What's going on?
Joe? Hope this works better this time.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, good to
I
see
figured
you.
the way to perfect it is to keep doing it and keep fucking it, just like this journey, right? Just keep doing it.
It's the way
Ask
to
for
do
more.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Were you able to hear what I was saying when you were popped up?
Yeah. Just the brief little, thing when I joined, kind of talking about the routines. That's all I really heard.
Yeah. So what I've noticed is I have a list. I have a list of things that I wanted to talk about, but I got sidetracked with.
Yeah.
You're a diet guy, right?
Yeah, I have my master's in nutrition. But I'm not like one of those strict fad diet, type of guys. I'm more of like using nutrition to aid the body in healing. But ultimately, it's not gonna be the main source of healing. It's another tool that can kind of help aid. So yeah.
Yeah. With me, I had the three safe foods, and I had to wait a year and a half before I could train my foods back in. So it took me 3 years for me to finally eat. I went from 240 pounds to 170. Then I started gaining the weight. And then after I recovered, it was great. So I had a year of just, enjoying all the foods. It was great. But then, because nothing was off the table, literally, I created some bad habits. And this is my missing piece now. And I see this is a theme with a lot of people that recover. They gain some chunk of bad behaviors, bad habits. So I'm trying to do a little bit of a reset and, start from there and then try to get a good lifestyle routine, good habits. Not making sandwiches at fucking 11 o'clock at night with a bunch of cookies.
Yeah. And that's a big part of it. So, the healing work, the mind-body healing work, the nervous system work that we do is ultimately what's going to heal. But like the lifestyle stuff is part of what keeps us well. And that's what I had to learn the hard way, because, after I healed, I went back to unhealthy lifestyle stuff. Mainly, I still ate fairly healthy. It wasn't, terrible. I wasn't back out eating McDonald's and fast food, but I was eating, unhealthy processed food, and but mainly I got back into drinking, which is as it can be really toxic and inflammatory for the body, and when you've already had underlying conditions and your body already gets sick, it's like it's easier to go back if you don't. You don't have to be completely like strict, once you get better. But I went a little too far on the other side, which, led me to relapse.
Yeah. So the great thing is that I brought my baseline down back to rest and digest from 1,000, and I had my bucket that was full.
Yeah.
It was finally down to here. And then what do I do? As I'm living life, and I'm bringing it up now because I'm eating all the food. And sure, I feel good, but in the long run, I did all that work for what? To replace it with making the body work and digesting and getting this detox out and the Doritos out here and the fucking chocolate bars,
Yep.
kind of misses, defeats the purpose of trying to live healthy.
Exactly. And that, so I went back and got my master's in nutrition because of that, because I'd gotten better, and then I relapsed, and I got better again, and then I was like, let me figure out a way, because there was a point when I was like, I want to help people, you know, and I do believe in nutrition, for especially not even necessarily for chronic illness, like, nervous system related stuff. I believe in it a lot for things like, heart disease, diabetes,
Yeah.
cancers, things like that, because I've seen that's
Yeah.
been inflicted in my family a lot, and a lot of that is lifestyle. Yes, stress is a part of it. Yes, some other lifestyle things like alcohol, drugs, smoking, whatever, are also a part of it. But I've seen, a lot of people in my life, be really, really affected with illnesses that are directly related to poor lifestyle and dietary habits. So I was like, let me go back and get my master's in nutrition, and then show people how to heal from chronic illness. That includes some nutrition, but then tie in the mind body stuff with it. And that's kind of what I do now. I never really
Yeah.
went to go work in a clinical setting, because it just didn't feel right anyway. But I teach nutrition as well, like how to aid the body from an anti-inflammatory perspective with, like, foods to help inflammatory conditions. So
What do you say?
yeah.
Well, this is such a huge topic.
Yep.
Oh man, we could have another bunch of shows
Yeah.
over just this.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, what I've noticed is, for me, the carnivore diet was like and fasting was the
Yeah.
fix for any problems that I had, until I had the 75 symptoms, and it wouldn't
Yeah.
even touch, it wouldn't do anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I noticed that some people actually, when they go on keto and some of
Yep.
these diets, like carnivore, a couple of years ago, it worked great for me for
Mhm.
like I did it for 4 months.
Yeah.
I noticed insane things that blood pressure regulating, mood,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
strong erections, skin just
Yeah.
clearing, right?
Yeah.
Ulcerative colitis was just more manageable, all kinds
Yep.
of like crazy things. And then after, mind body thing, my 75 symptoms, it did shit. And then I
Yeah.
hear other people, they try it, and they actually sometimes, like keto, it would cause a stress response because of the
Yeah.
big changes.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
symptoms would pile on.
Yeah, I've seen this a lot. I actually like studied quite a bit about like carnivore and keto, and like learned about the positives about it, and then also the drawbacks. Because you
Yeah.
do see, like, there are like a lot of people that when they do the carnivore diet, they can see some benefits. But in my perspective, what happens with that is, because like carnivore and keto, it is for the most part very, very anti-inflammatory foods. Like, you're not eating processed foods, you're not eating all of these inflammatory foods. The body actually kind of gets a boost from that, but then
Yeah.
all of the then it doesn't work. What you've seen, like, even the people that like popularize carnivore and keto,
Yeah.
they
It
have to
catches
go back.
up.
Yeah, it catches up. They have to go back to eating vegetables and stuff like that. But it's like made them famous in a way that they still stand by it, and but now they like kind of hide the fact that they have to eat vegetables and other foods, because it kind of catches up, and there is more to it to just diet than just diet. So it's been something that I've gotten arguments with people about, because people will tell me, like, oh no, this is what my nutritionist or my doctor, has seen really work. And I'm like, okay, give it 6 months after that, you're gonna come right back to earth. You're gonna
Well,
start having other issues as well.
the problem is, if they're using it to get
Yeah,
to heal symptoms, and then
yeah,
I ask them, like, well, what happens if you get off carnivore? Do the symptoms come back?
yeah,
They're like, yeah. I'm like, so
yeah,
what? You got to stay on carnivore the rest of your life? That
yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
It
That's
doesn't
a
make any
coping
sense.
mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, I never got down. I never went as crazy down to three foods. I went down to like a limited diet for sure. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing about my story is I tried all of the diets. I went vegan. I did
Yeah.
even raw vegan, like where I didn't even eat
Right.
cooked foods for like months. I did keto. I did paleo. What else did I do? I did like an alkaline, anti-inflammatory diet. So I tried all these diets,
Yeah.
and ultimately it was for me just more like, just eat right for your body. Eat an
Yeah.
anti-inflammatory diet. I also did a low FODMAP diet when I had really bad gut dysbiosis. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever heard of that.
Yep.
That actually was beneficial when you're dealing with bad gut bacteria, along with the nervous system stuff, along with the mind body stuff. That actually
Yeah, one of
really
the big
helped.
books is Breaking the Cycle. A lot of people with diverticulitis and ulcerative colitis,
Yep.
like me, I bought the
Yep.
book. I'm like, yeah, but then I'm like, you have to stick to that
Yeah.
FODMAPs. You
Yeah.
can't get off it.
No, I
Like,
only did it for like a short time. I did it for like a few months, and bam, I'm like back on to eating whatever I want. I don't have any food sensitivities or anything like that.
yeah,
It's all meant to be like a temporary thing, and that's I think the thing that people don't realize, especially even with carnivore. Like, yes, it can kind of benefit you, but it's meant to be a temporary thing, and then you get back into eating the broad spectrum of foods again. Obviously, don't go back to eating McDonald's and all these inflammatory foods if you're dealing with a chronic
yeah,
illness.
it's
But
gonna catch
but
up. Yeah,
yeah, that's going to catch up too. But go back to slowly, introducing a lot of the foods that are going to actually help you heal. Like, your body needs vegetables. You need like plant foods to make fiber, for prebiotics, to heal your gut microbiome and stuff like that. So, that stuff's important. But don't go fearful of it. That's the thing.
well, yeah, the way I see it is, if the first thing for me that made me realize is I got to regulate my nervous system. Without
Yeah,
that, eh,
doesn't
I'm
matter.
gonna be using these
Yeah,
diets for coping
yeah,
mechanisms,
yeah, exactly. It
right?
doesn't it doesn't matter. You could try all of the diets. You could sit there and do carnivore, but if you're not doing the nervous system, the mind body stuff, it's not going to help.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
true. And
yeah.
I can see if a person's regulated, I can see them doing okay with veganism or blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And some of them are okay
Yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're regulated, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's where I get my information from, because I'm like, okay, well, like
Yeah.
for instance, I tell my buddy, he does all the diets, he does all the
Yeah.
fasting, he takes all the vitamin C, and I tell him,
Yeah.
if you're so strict with your eating and you're not regulated, you could die at 60 of a heart attack, compared to somebody who's regulated
Yeah.
but smokes a cigar every day and
Yeah.
eats a Snickers and lives to be 104,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true, and like, people don't realize also, the whole regulated stuff. It really, honestly, comes down with stress. A lot of
Yeah,
stress. All of
yeah,
us. If the people that I talk to, I'm sure the people that you talk to, um, there's an underlying level of stress, usually for prolonged. But then there's also, typically, I don't know about you, but there's usually like one or two events that happens, whether it's like a very like traumatic experience, like
yeah,
someone dying, or it's a really bad breakup, or like some sort of sexual assault, whatever it is, like something
yeah,
that really throws their nervous system over the edge. And that's typically what I've seen with a lot of. Yes, there is, people get bit by a tick, you have Lyme disease, you get COVID, but there's a level of stress that happens, that
yeah,
coincides with the chronic illness, that really, that's the main ultimate culprit, I think, is the level of stress that people deal with for a
right,
long time, that like kind of consistently like builds up that, um, the bucket, like you call it, where
right.
it's like, yeah,
Well, it's
yeah,
like, for me, after I regulated, I haven't been sick in 3 years of the cold or the
oh, you
flu,
haven't, wow, that's good.
right? And I tell people
Yep.
when they get sick, I'm like, well,
Yep.
that's good that you got sick,
Yeah.
because it kind of
Yeah.
tells you where you're at.
Yep. Yep.
It's an indicator. It's communication. It's like, oh my god. I'm like, well, you're here now,
Yeah.
right? So
Exactly.
you got some work to do.
Yep.
It's great. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, it's not. And actually, like, for a lot of people that are chronically ill, they don't get like viruses, because their immune system is just like, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
When you actually kind of get viruses, it's a good thing. I haven't
yeah,
actually, now that I think about it, I haven't had a virus in a while. Knock on wood. But I had COVID in the winter of last winter, and
yeah,
it was a good test. It's also, you can look at it as like a test, because I got COVID 2.5 years ago, which is what was like the straw that broke the camel's back, that
yeah,
led me into chronic illness, relapse, like all of the nervous system stuff, stuck in fight or flight, shut down, all of that sort of stuff. And then last year when I got COVID, it was a test, like, to see, okay, where's your nervous system at? Are you going to fall back into, the pattern of fear, of worry, of stress, and then allow it to take over your nervous system. I mean, I felt like shit for like 2 weeks, but then I back on track. Like it was a good test to see where my nervous system and where overall my immune system health was. Sure, I still had work to do. I still had some symptoms and stuff that I was working through, but it didn't cause like a full on
And it
relapse
actually,
flare.
and you can see it. You can see the load that it puts.
Yep.
Like some people, they get COVID, it lasts a day or two, and
Yeah.
some people it lasts months,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can see how much it weighs down on you.
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah.
me, I'm sure I've gotten COVID or viruses. I'm sure you have
Yeah.
too, Pat,
Yeah.
lately. But we process it
Yeah.
so efficiently. We feel maybe 2%, like maybe half a sniffle, and it's
Yeah.
gone. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's gone. Yeah. Exactly. And the thing that I love about like the nervous system work, the mind body stuff, now that they do all these like studies, scientific studies that show how it just basically uh, boosts up your immune system, so that if these
Yeah.
viruses do come along, it just kind of grabs them, and it's just like you may have a little bit, but it kind of,
Yeah.
your natural killer cells, and they do all these things about the immune system markers and how they're boosted when you do a lot of these when you get in that regulated state, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see too.
It works. It works like it's supposed to work
Yeah.
efficiently, right? It's just like,
Exactly.
oh yeah, let's do that's easy.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
before it was like
Yeah.
it's like ah,
Yeah. It's like what's going
it's
on?
barely keeping alive. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's doing its work. But it's
Yeah.
we have all this loads
Yeah.
and burdens and
Yeah.
shit shows.
Uh-huh.
What's your
Yeah.
thought about fasting? I still do intermittent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's your thought about, the fasting craze when it comes to, a couple of days, 72-hour dry fasting, all
Well,
that shit?
so I don't really have an opinion on that necessarily, because I've never really quite done that unless
Mhm.
it was like I couldn't eat. I was so
Yeah.
sick. But where I do actually agree with is some of intermittent fasting, and
Me too, yeah.
one of the things that really helped heal my gut when I was dealing with SIBO um, was intermittent fasting. But it was also it wasn't that I was not intaking anything. What I would do. And this is sometimes when people like come to me and I work with them and they're like, my gut is a wreck. I got SIBO. I got all this sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
teaching them the nervous system stuff, but I actually I think like doing if some people can do it, bone broth and like green juice fasts for like a
Mhm.
couple meals a day. It kind of like gives your digestion a break from like having to digest and all the energy
Yeah.
that goes towards that. And I've done that. Like that was one of the things when I relapsed. Like COVID really messed up my gut to the point
Yeah.
where like anything I ate I would be churning in pain and all this sort of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And when I got back on the mind body stuff, the nervous system stuff, and I didn't take anything to kill any of the bacteria. I did take some probiotics and some digestive enzymes, but what I did was I started eating gut healing foods, and
Yep.
I did these. It
Pickling.
was it was bone broth, like morning. It was like bone broth evening, for
Yeah.
like 3 days, and then in the morning and midday I would do like cold pressed green juices with no fruit, but it was just
Yep.
like celery, kale, parsley, lime, lemon, all of this all of that type of stuff. So I would do that for like maybe 1 or 2 days, and then go back to eating. And
Yeah.
it was kind of like a nice boost to my gut. Like it actually helped. And then the intermittent fasting, like I only eat pretty much like 2 meals a day most days now. I
Yeah.
really don't eat after a certain period, and then typically I eat around 11, 12, in the morning. um, so I don't really eat 3 meals a day now.
Yeah.
So
I've noticed that
what are your thoughts? Yeah, did it
with
help you?
fasting, I've noticed because of this mind body thing and being in survival, I
Yeah.
noticed that I think this is what I think. I think fasting is a survival mechanism that is used to bulk
Yep.
you up so that you can, survive through the famine,
Mhm.
right? So the winter's coming, bulk up, you got your fat storage,
Yep.
and then here you go, you burn it up, and it's going to keep you alive.
Yeah.
And I think that some people have been using it for dieting, and I don't think it's meant to be
Yeah.
used for that. I think it's just meant to. It's there for you to
Yep.
live longer. And I see
Yep.
that with my friend. One of my friends, he's obsessed with fasting, and it seems like he's gaining weight because of it.
Really?
Because his brain is like going, "Hey man, are you telling me that the winter's coming?
Yeah.
All right, right." So he's surrounded by food, but he's saying no.
Yeah.
And the brain's going to be stronger. It's going to give him the hormones to say, we need to feed.
Yeah.
We got to feed now. There's famine coming, so he's
Yeah.
going to binge eat. And he goes on and off, which puts stress on his body.
Yeah.
Because he goes
Yep.
nothing for 3 days and then binge eating
Yeah.
all the wrong foods.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he's packing all this storage, this energy storage, never to burn it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you're asking for problems, man. He's like
Yeah.
going bigger and bigger and bigger. The more he fasts, the bigger he's getting, it seems.
Yeah, there's actually something that happens when you don't eat, and your body, like, it kind of goes into like that preserve mode, where it's like, oh, we need to conserve all of the fat in our body, because we're not getting enough food. So I'm not burning this stuff. It's going to actually sort of increase like the fat storage in your body. I don't know exactly what it does, but I've read a lot about that too. When people fast, it doesn't actually help you lose weight. It actually is kind of counteractive, and it helps you keep the weight on. So it's weird. It's weird. And then when, like you said, when you get the food, it's like, boom, I'm holding on to this weight. I'm not burning this, because
if you're
gonna get it again.
If you're living with a partner who has like all the bad foods in the cabinets, and it knows, the brain knows there's food there, there's supply there.
Yeah.
You need to feed. We're gonna feed. I'm gonna make you feed, and you're gonna give in, and you're gonna feed because winter's coming, or right?
Yeah.
It's a survival mechanism, and it's doing its job, and people are using it for the wrong things, and that stresses the body out, and then that's where people can have big problems.
Exactly. Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, this is this is important stuff that not a lot of people really kind of talk about, on the healing journey. There's so many like different. It's interesting because there's so many different schools of thought, as you know, within this realm of healing. Where you got the somatic people, then you got the brain retraining. Then you got the like, oh, you got to dive into trauma, and then there's nutrition. And it's like, well, hold on a sec. One, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Two, it's kind of there's some of a little bit of everything that can help, aid the body in a lifestyle sort of way. Not like I need to fix myself. It's like doing the right things for your body that's gonna help. Yeah. So
I noticed that I see the evidence everywhere. My dad, he has no problems with cholesterol. He smokes cigarettes every day. He's got a good weight. He eats whatever the hell he wants, and he's not overweight. He's healthy. My mom, she's trying to be, watch everything she eats. She gains weight. She has all the health problems. She's has anxiety, of course, right? Yeah. She's not regulated. He's regulated, and you can see they both live in the same environment. One's overweight, healthy. One isn't, and you see that everywhere. People are eating the same things, different, right? Yep. One's regulated, one isn't.
Yep.
You could see that in the prisons. People are eating the same things, different sizes.
That stress is a key, man. Like if you're under that stress and that anxiety and that nervous system dysregulation, it throws off all of the processes in your body, to then cause issues with now your endocrine system, your autonomic nervous system, the your neurological functions, all of this sort of stuff. When you're in that state of heightened fight or flight, all of the processes go out the window. They're like, wait, we're in protect mode, so I'm turning off the digestion, so now you're not going to digest the food properly. I'm turning off your detox pathways because we're in fight or flight. We can't detox right now. We got to protect ourselves. So like it kind of does that, and that's people don't realize that.
Yeah, like. It's almost like you can't necessarily tell who's healthier just by looking at him. Like a guy, like one of my friends who's he's ripped, he's got a 6-pack, right? Yep. I think I'm healthier than him, even though I'm chubs over here, right? But his face looks stressed. He's like, right? He does not look healthy. His face is a little gray. but he's ripped. So
Uh-huh.
that doesn't say everything.
No.
He's stress ripped.
Yeah, and that I've seen that a lot. People that get stuck in that that mindset of like it's because it's a perfectionism mechanism. A lot of people
Yeah.
that go to the gym too, it's like, I go to the
Stressor
gym.
size.
Yeah, stressor set. I go to the gym 3-4 times a week now, but I do it as a as a self care to myself and to help my body heal. And the gym is actually really good. I don't know if you've ever seen some of those studies. There's uh, the hope molecule or whatever that happens that turns on when you actually exercise.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to like nervous system work. It's just another way where now
Yeah.
your functions happen again. But then some people do it the opposite way, where it's like I got to be perfect, perfectionism. Like
That's it.
it's an obsessive compulsive disorder, and that stress is also really bad. I mean, I did that with like when I worked full time.
Yeah.
Thinking like I gotta being a graphic designer and an art director, being like, man, I want to create the most perfect thing, and just nitpicking it, and like
Yeah.
all of that sort of stuff. And at some point, it's like that's too much. It's not good for your health.
Yeah. I've seen
That
that.
stress.
When I used to go my walks, I had to change my mindset, not to go for walks to burn cortisol to get rid
Yeah,
of, so I could
yeah,
sleep. So I had to change it to, I'm going for my walks because I enjoy my walks, and
yeah,
I did. But
exactly.
then I would see other people, right? They're like, oh, okay, how about that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And they'd be
exactly.
like checking their watches,
It's
and then
crazy.
they wouldn't even notice their environment.
Yeah,
Their
yeah,
their brain is ruminating about their
yeah.
spouses or all the bullshit that they're going
Hmm.
through, and
Yeah,
it's just toxic. They're actually going to exercise, to stress exercise, to go and die. It's like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go die now. I'm gonna hurry up and
yeah,
die, right? And me, I'm
yeah,
like just walking slowly, looking at the
yeah,
bird, looking at
yeah.
the
Exactly.
leaves,
Just taking it
right?
all in. Yeah,
Huge difference.
yeah.
Huge
It
difference.
is. It is. There's we just had our call right before I got on the. We do our Zoom calls twice a week, and
Yeah.
so you know there's a simple like formula for I made that post on our page maybe a couple weeks ago. It's
Yeah.
doing the work, and then the second part is letting go. Like, because
Mhm.
that's the thing is like, so we have to make some changes. We have to do some of the right things for our body to heal. We can't just, I mean, maybe we can honestly just do nothing, but it's kind of hard to do that. The nervous system, will focus on the negative. So we almost have to do the positive things so that it doesn't go back to the negative processes and all the stress and all that. But the other part that people do, and kind of what you were talking when they go on the walk, it's either when they go on the walk or they do the meditation or they do the, EFT tapping, or they whatever, they do some movement, somatic, and it's like checking their watch as they're doing it. Like, am I
Yeah.
healing? Am I healing? Like, is this
Right.
helping me? Like, I need to feel better. I need to feel better. Like, I can't, like, what should this be working? This is like, I should be feeling much better. And that part of it is just adding more stress to it. So it's like, yes, you have to do the healing work, but equally as important, if not more, is letting go of control. And like, kind of like
Yeah.
what you say, when you go on that walk, you're just going on the walk. When you do that visualization, meditation, you're just doing it, as an
Yeah.
act of self-care, self-love, that you want to do it, that you don't always have to make like, oh, like trick yourself into enjoying it. But I mean, like, now when I do my like healing routine, I have my morning, my evening routine, I actually enjoy it. Like, it's like
Yeah.
I get up and I like do, I do my journaling prompts. I do
Yeah.
my visualization, and
It's
I
a
get out and
lifestyle.
go. It's a
I can't
lifestyle.
wait to do
Yeah,
it every
yeah,
day. I
same.
can't fucking wait to get in
Yeah,
my car and fucking do it, and then go for my walk.
yeah,
Especially now in the
yeah,
fall, the
yeah,
crisp air. Like,
yeah.
ah, fuck, I love that shit.
It's beautiful. I'm down here in Florida right now. It's finally getting cooler weather out here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful now. I honestly do not spend any time indoors. I'll go home and eat after this, but that's about it. I've been outside all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Same
yeah,
here. No,
yeah,
I love being outside a lot.
yeah,
And for me, this is the last part of my puzzle, and I'm gonna try to tackle it like I did with the mind body thing. I'm gonna
yeah,
try to tackling, dieting, losing weight, and working out the same way I did with all the symptoms that I
mhm,
had, and try to analyze it in a survival mode type of thing. Is this survival? How is this reacting? Is my
yeah,
body, you
yeah.
know what I mean? Tackling it
Exactly.
totally different.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
the way to do it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's the way to do it, man.
And you know
Yeah,
what? I think this could be a huge field for you because of your master's with
yeah,
nutrition, tackling this with the mind body perspective.
yeah, yeah. That's my whole goal. Like if I work with any people on nutrition, I do not just I'm not like, hey, eat this. Like I'm if anything, it's like, yeah, you can do some stuff with your diet, but also you got to do these things to eliminate stress. You know,
Right.
do all of this or all of that sort of stuff. Do some of the nervous system work. Otherwise, no amount of diet is really going to help you.
This
You
could
know,
be
yeah,
honestly, this could be a breakthrough
yeah,
new. It could take all the diets, all the apps,
yeah,
all could wipe them off the
yeah,
fucking. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah,
And there could be billions of dollars you could make and help a lot of people with
yeah.
this shit.
I hope
You know what I
so.
mean?
That'd be awesome. But no, my belief, and I know that you feel the same way. This stuff is medicine of the future. I
Yeah.
think in like 10, maybe 20 years, that doctors, they'll still be around. And, people, nutritionists, whatever, will still be around.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like, hey, go to the doctor, prescribe this medication. It's like they may still have medication, they may still do
Yeah.
these other things. But hey, you got to get control of your stress. You got to work on your nervous system health. You got do some of this mind body stuff. Get into meditation, visualization. Go for walks.
Yeah.
Like prescribing that along with anything else, because that I believe is it's the medicine of the future. We see how much, everything fails. All of the medicines people are on so many antidepressants, then statins and this
Oh
and then
man,
that, and then all this stuff for the side effects, and they're sicker than ever. Like in our country, do you live in the U.S.? Where do you live?
Canada, it's just as
Oh,
bad.
you live in Canada. Yeah, U.S. man, it's everyone's so there's so many chronic illnesses here, not just
Yeah.
nervous system related, but you got obesity, you got diabetes, you got high blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease, all of this stuff that's crazy here, and no one's telling them like, hey, you gotta you gotta get your nervous system under control, and you gotta
Right.
mind your stress levels and come back to doing the
Well,
right things for your
instead, what they're
body.
doing is they're throwing drugs at them.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
they're
Yeah,
taking their colons out. They're
yeah,
taking.
yeah.
It's
Yep.
crazy. I'm like, you don't have to have your colon removed. You
No,
can heal.
you can heal. The body is miraculous at healing when we do the right things and get out of the way. When we just
Well,
get
that's
out of the way.
because
Yeah,
there's so much. It's so censored and it's also looked at as woo woo that
yeah,
people
exactly.
people think, oh, it's way out there. That when it should be normal information. It should be
Yeah,
normalized.
yep. It's getting less woo woo. That's the thing I will
Yeah.
say. Now there's a lot of doctors, psychologists, like biologists, brain health doctors that are studying this, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like people like
Yeah.
Joe Dispenza, even though he's a chiropractor, there's other people out there that are in the field of like research that are
Yeah.
actually seeing like the correlation behind, oh, this works because of this. It actually boosts your serotonin, your endorphin levels, and that calms the nervous system, which calms any of the inflammatory markers down, and boosts anti-inflammatory markers, and all of that sort of stuff. And so there's a lot
Yeah.
more
We are our
science.
own. We are our
Yeah,
own medicine,
yeah,
literally.
exactly.
And the only problem I could see with this, why it's going to come out, I think it's going to take time because
Yeah,
of it goes against the money machine when it comes
it
to
does. Yeah,
big pharma.
pharmaceuticals.
They're not going to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this. They're
No,
going to try
no,
to
no, no.
censor it. They're
Yep,
going to,
yep,
people
yep.
might disappear all of a sudden because of this shit, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And that's
Yep.
scary. It's like,
Uh,
well, fuck, but it's, but no, 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 no. We need to keep people sick because that's where the money is. We
yeah.
can't, they need
Exactly.
to be chronic to stay on this medication. And what, you're going to tell me that
Yep.
you can just work with your brain,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then heal this shit? Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be.
Well, we can't have that happen. Nope, that's just ridiculous. That's right.
Yeah. It's a lot of change that needs to happen, and I don't know how it's gonna work, but I just believe that it's gonna be incorporated. I don't know what like pharmaceutical companies are gonna do after it.
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
concerned about that, but yeah, it's probably gonna be a difficult process in the short term, but in the long term,
Yeah,
over time, I think it's the way.
maybe that's what our purpose is.
It is. Yeah, I
We're
think
the front
so.
runners to
Yeah,
make this major changes.
yeah. I think it
and we're
is.
gonna be. I think we're gonna be
Yeah.
faced with resistance,
Yep. Yep.
but that's maybe our purpose.
Yeah, I think so. We'll have to do another one on. You had mentioned the hate. Like, I made that post today about there's haters once you heal,
Oh
and
fuck!
it's yeah.
I got a bunch of questions still. We got to hit up, so we'll do it
Yeah,
maybe later
let's do
this
it.
week or next week. We'll
Yeah,
hit up
yeah, I'm
again.
down. I'm down anytime. My phone's gonna die. I've been
Yeah,
out all
yeah,
day. My phone's only like 5%, but I forget what I was gonna say there. But yeah, the haters thing. We'll have to touch on that because
yeah,
there's hate from all angles. Once you start healing and once you start helping people, you get it from the people that want to keep people sick. You're gonna get it
yeah,
from like the doctors, the traditional doctors, and like what you're doing is wrong, right? And then you get it from the other people that are attached to their illness.
yeah.
I was there. So I'm not hating on them completely, but getting
Right.
out of that, like the labels of diagnosis, like you get hate of that, hatred from you're crazy. How dare you tell me I can heal this way? That might have a
Yeah,
serious chronic illness. And then you get hate even from the people that are in the same field as you because they see what you're doing and it's like, oh, I'm in competition with them. And it's
yeah,
like, no, 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 dude. This is a big enough
yeah.
field. Like there's room
Oh,
to help to go around. You know what? If I don't resonate with some people, there's hundreds of thousands of other
especially
people.
now.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my!
yeah.
Especially after COVID.
Yep,
Like
exactly.
every second person has anxiety.
Yeah,
Everybody's got
yeah,
something going on,
yeah.
mind, body. Everybody.
Exactly, exactly. So there's tons of people that need help. So
Yeah,
if anyone's listening that's a health coach or that's in this world, don't hate on the other people that are healing. Just do your thing. You'll resonate with some people.
yeah,
Just as I won't. There are people that don't like my approach, that won't like your approach, but
yeah,
that someone else will resonate with them. But it'll be the same sort of deal. It just might be a different tone, a different sort of package of the message that helps people in their own way. So
yeah.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you on. I'll
good.
have you on probably next
Yeah,
week. We'll cover this
yeah.
list
Let's
and
do
many.
it,
We'll
man.
have a lot of lists, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it. I'm always down. I
All
love these
right, man. Cool.
conversations. Yeah,
Love
man.
it. That was good.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. Thanks. Thanks for having me on. Have a good night,
Yeah.
dude.
You too. Later.
See you.
All right, guys. That was fun. That was great. Having drop-in conversations. I like going back and forth with Joe because I like a lot of stuff he has to say, and his input with it comes to today was about nutrition, diets, so we hit that topic. I always wanted to talk about that, and I'm great that we could have him on and get different perspectives, right? So anybody got any questions? I'm gonna wrap it up. And does my chat even work? It doesn't. I don't know if it's even working. I guess we'll see. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I might be on again later this week because that was fun. So I'll make a post and let you guys know. But thanks for joining, and have a Thanksgiving.